If you haven't noticed by now, America is split in two, and we're on the brink of a civil war. That's why Bill Gates is talking about it the other day, saying that the opposition that's having the polarity is going to lead to destruction of everything. And he's partly right. But to understand what's going on today, you have to understand history, right? You got to understand what happened in the first American Civil War. And when you understand what happened in the first American Civil War, you understand that what's going on today is essentially the same thing that was going on back then. It was the elites versus the people. It's the same battle that's happening now. The elites versus the people. The elites are trying to enslave everybody, and they're putting their benefit before the people, and the people are suffering because of these people. The world would be way, way better than it is right now, especially America, if it wasn't for these people. But once you understand the dynamic that was happening in the first American Civil War, you understand the dynamic that's happening in this Civil War, because history is basically repeating itself, basically. So, what happened in the first Civil War? The first Civil War was about the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other. Why were the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other? Because the Democrats was the party of the elites, right? It was the first party created. They represented the elites. They tried to act like they represented people, but they represented the elites. They was pushing elites' ideas and elite agendas. The Republicans was fighting against the elites. They was made in opposition to the Democratic Party, which is the elite party. The Republicans was truly the party of the people. So the Republicans came together. Why they came together? Because blacks that was enslaved and poor whites came together. They made an agreement like it's in our best interest to unite with each other in order to fight the evil we all share, right? Which is the white elites, right? The elites are most of the evil elites are white, but still these white elites was getting over on poor whites, right? They was making life harder for poor whites, uh, for the benefit of the elites. So these white people realize like, oh, we're being finessed too by these evil elites, just like black people. Even though black people are getting it worse, we're being finessed just like them, right? And this goes into Bacon's rebellion, which he formalized a rebellion of mixed people, of black and white people, against the elites, and he almost was successful, but they crushed him. Right before the Bacon's rebellion, slavery was it wasn't exclusively black. It was geared towards more black people, but it wasn't exclusively black. It was much more white slaves before Bacon's rebellion. But after Bacon's rebellion, that's when it became exclusively black, right? Because they had to convince poor white people that, "Oh, we're on your side and black people are the enemy. Let's unite against black people," right? So a lot of poor whites fell for it, but over time, poor whites started realizing like they're getting over on us too. Black people are getting it worse, but they're getting over on us too, right? They're finessing us too. So black and white people came together, formed the Republican Party. The Republican Party was truly the party of the people, and this was the voice of the people, of the forgotten man, right? So the two sides end up clashing, right? The Republicans ended up winning, right? But they won, but they didn't really get rid of this what you call deep state Illuminati, right? They didn't really get rid of these people, right? Even though they won the war, because after, as you can see today, the elites are back in control. They're back in full control. But the Republicans was the people's party. The Democrats was the elites party, and the Democrats was fighting for slavery. Republicans were fighting against slavery because Republicans teamed up with black people, and they realized like it's in our best interest to fight with black people in order to get over this huge enemy, right? Just like today, like the elites seem to be unstoppable. It was just like that back then. But when you unite the people are basically unstoppable. It's because the people are not united and people are dumb. People are not understanding what's going on. People don't understand there's poison in our water, there's poison in our food. People don't understand the attack that's being implicated on the population. People don't really understand the elites are trying to harm you and enslave you. People don't understand this, right? But the Republicans won. The Republicans, uh, the Republicans basically was passing laws and was trying to give reparations to black people. That was the 40 acres and a mule. And Andrew Jackson, after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Jackson came, not Jackson, but Andrew Johnson came, and he reversed the plan to give black people 40 acres and a mule, which is created by the bill. The plan was created by a general named William. So they the what basically I brought that up because that shows you how right after they won the war, the elites would still the elites was still a factor, right? So basically they fought the war for basically no reason. It was for a reason, right? A lot of things got better. Black people was freed. The average white man wasn't getting finessed that bad, right? It was again, it made things more fair for them, right? So the war had benefits, but the main reason of the war was to get rid of the elites, which they failed to do, right? This is why we're in the same situation today. This is why we're on the brink of another civil war, because these elites have took control of everything and they're going crazy, right? Food, poisoning our water, poisoning our food. They're going crazy, right? They're going ham. They're trying to take away guns. They're in all type of child trafficking. They're in all type of child sacrifice. They're in all type of crazy. The evil of the most evil things you could think of. These people are involved in it, right? So the war today, well, the war that's getting ready to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't happen, right? The war that's getting ready to happen is just a rehash of history of before, which is the elites versus the people, right? And you got to understand what's going on, because if you see, when you frame it as Republicans versus Democrats, it confuses you, right? Because you don't understand who's the deep state, who's representing the elite, who's representing the people, right? Because the elites have taken over the Republican Party, right? That's why the Republican Party turned their back on black people, and not only black people, they turned their back on average white people, right? They started pushing elite agendas and making the people benefiting the elite at the expense of the people, right? So the Republican Party was infiltrated, right? But this is where Trump comes in. Trump basically brought back the original Republican Party, which was the party of the people, right? It was the Republican Party was literally made to go against the elites, right? Because the Democrat Party was created by the elites, and the Democrats was pushing elite agenda BS, right? Like slavery, like right. But the Republicans literally was designed to fight the elites. The party was literally to fight the elites and represent the people, right? So when Trump came back, Trump brought back the old Republican Party, right? The old Republican values, which was the values of the common man, the people, not the elites, right? So this is why they hated Trump so much, right? Trump basically started the reversal of the Republican Party, right? The reversal of elite control, right? And Donald Trump was meddling with these people. Donald Trump rubbed shoulders with these people. Donald Trump understand these people, right? Which gave him much more power, which made him more effective at attacking these people, right? Confronting these people, right? He knows who's who and who's not, and who's fake and who's real. So when Trump came in, Trump brought back the original value of the Republican parties. That's why the elites are hating. That's why all the rappers, all the musicians, all the whole cabal came down. The whole system came down on Trump, right? The news, the whole system came down on him, right? So, and Kanye West's recent interview shows you this, right? He explained how he was scared to say he supports Trump because he had all type of people around him telling him that he's gonna die, he's gonna lose his career, he's going to be harmed if he says he likes Trump, right? And why would they go so hard on a man that's supposedly part of the elite, right? He's a part of the deep state. That's what everybody thinks. Oh, Trump is just, he's conning everybody. He's a part of them. He's a part of the problem, right? So why is the whole system going against Trump? Why? You got to think about that. It's because Trump was going against their agendas. Trump was calling them out. Trump was stopping their plans. So Kanye West exposed basically what we all know, that if you're an artist, if you're a celebrity, if you're a star, you are controlled by people and you are threatened. You will die if you step out of line, right? Kanye West confirms that for us. We all knew that. But Donald Trump brought back the old Republican Party, and the Republican Party, the MAGA movement, is basically the old movement, right? The old movement of the people against the elites, right? This is why Biden said they're the worst, they're America's biggest threat. Biden said they're America's biggest threat because he understands that this movement is awakening the people, right? The sleeping giant, the people. This movement is exposing how evil and corrupt these people are, right? And they're afraid, right? Because if all the people understood this, right? If every single last American understood this, they would be crushed. Their power is really deception, right? They have technology, they have crazy weapons, but their biggest power is deception, right? Because if all of us understood how evil these people are, if all of us understood that our lives would be a lot better if it wasn't for these people, we would get rid of them. We would come in droves and hunt these people down, right? They understand this, right? So they work in deception, right? They put white people against black people, rich against poor, this against that, women against men. They have all type of ways to divide you, right? Even though there's issues with black and white people, the biggest issue when it comes to black and white people is them. They're the ones who historically fought for slavery, tried to say black people wasn't humans, didn't want black people to vote. It was Republicans that gave black people the right to vote, fought against slavery, and said that we should treat black people equally. They was like, no, we're not treating black people equally. It was them, the Democrats, which is the deep state. The deep state is behind them, right? Which controls the Democrats, right? The Illuminati is these people that are historically responsible for everything that's happened to black people, that happened to black people. So when you understand this, you're like, oh, you understand that. See, when white people fought against slavery the first time, it wasn't out of the kindness of their heart. It was out of self-preservation. It was the most logical thing to do was to fight with black people against slavery, because the people who was enslaving black people was finessing poor white people, making it hard for poor white people. And they was enslaving poor white people at first before they switched it exclusively to black people. So just like today, a lot of white people want to team up with black people against them because they understand that white and black people, common white and black people, have the same enemy, which is these elite deep state individuals. That's why they want to take away guns so you can't fight them, because they plan to enslave everybody through the New World Order. But basically, this coming civil war, hopefully it doesn't come, but if it does come, you got to understand what the Civil War is about, so you can understand what side you're on. Are you gonna fight with the elites against the commonwealth, the common benefit towards the people, or are you gonna fight with the people against the elites, which is for, if you're a regular person, it's for your benefit. If you're not a part of the small group that they're in, even if you're wealthy, that doesn't guarantee you're a part of the small group, right? So you got to understand what side you're going to pick. Are you going to fight with the elites, or are you going to fight with the people? This is very important to understand if everything all kicks out, because you don't want to be fooled into fighting for the elites like a lot of dumb white people was fooled in the first Civil War. The first Civil War, a lot of dumb white people was fighting with the Confederacy, fighting with the elites, fighting with the Democrats, not realizing they're fighting against their own benefit, right? But it's important you understand that the Civil War coming is basically the same Civil War that happened again. But if the Civil War happens this time, the people have to make sure these evil elites do not crawl back into power again, just like they did again, or we're gonna have a third Civil War. Hopefully, there's no second Civil War, but the way things are going right now seems very, very likely. Seems very, very likely. They're trying to push pedophilia. They're trying to take away guns. They're trying to enslave you. They're trying to push this new cryptocurrency thing, which is gonna control everything you do. You can't buy things if you say the wrong things. They're gonna take your money. You can't buy things. You can't go certain places. You can't take a you can't buy a plane ticket to go somewhere if they deem you a threat. Like they're gonna have full control over you, right? They're gonna see what you're buying. They're gonna tell you what to buy by saying that you could buy this and you can't buy that. And PayPal recently just came out with the oh we're gonna charge you 2,500 if you spread misinformation, right? Which they quickly reneged, right? They quickly said no, it was an accident. It was an accident. That wasn't supposed to be there, right? Because they realized so much people started leaving PayPal. They started losing so much money, right? But this is what they are trying to do. They're all trying to do this, and once this system gets put in place, everybody's gonna be enslaved. You're gonna be a slave. You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay more taxes. That's why they hired 80,000 more IRS agents. They're gonna force you to pay more taxes. They're gonna tell you what you're gonna do, where you're gonna work. They're gonna tell you what you're gonna buy. They're gonna tell you what they say. You're gonna be a complete slave, right? So this is the stakes that we're facing right now, and you gotta choose what side you're gonna pick. Basically, you gotta choose which side you're gonna pick, and it is confusing for Black people, right? Because Black people end up fighting at wars, white wars, end up getting nothing. But we just gotta make sure we're fighting. We gotta make sure that we're being truthful, right? Because a lot of Republicans kind of feel like they don't owe us nothing, and we are owed a debt. The old Republicans actually was gonna pay us. They knew, they understood that they had to give us some kind of payment because we are old. That's why they came out with the 40 acres and a mule, which Andrew reversed, a Democrat. You see, a Democrat reversed reparations for Black people, which 40 acres and a mule wasn't even enough. We're owed way more than that, but at least the Republicans was trying to give us something, right? But you got to understand that the war and the Democrats, it's not only Democrats, it's Republicans too that's a part of it, right? A part of this elite cabal that's fighting for this elite cabal. But it's like it's like it's like 60% of the Republicans are deep state operatives. 95% of the Democrats are deep state operatives, right? So it's mostly the Democrats, even though some Republicans are a part of it too. But the MAGA crowd, right? This MAGA movement, these MAGA politicians that's coming up, they're fighting for the people, right? Some are just saying MAGA in order to get support, and they're really for the elites, but most of them are genuinely fighting for the equality and benefit of all people, right? So you need to understand this before the war kicks off. You need to understand what side you're going to be on.